Because no one gets around their encouraging friends and regrets it. You may not want to, but once you get around, you say, I'm so glad I came. To God be the glory. Thank you. Yeah, something she said even too, like about isolation. Isolation is the enemy. Yeah, the enemy wants us to isolate, and it is so. It's crazy because a lot of people, we don't talk about the fulfilling portions of isolation. There's this aspect of isolation that kind of relieves us from responsibility. It relieves us from having to face the people that we feel like we have to perform for. You see, and I think that's where isolation, the battle comes in, because it's like, all right, I know I need to get out. I know I need to talk to people. But at the same time, there's a pressure that comes. There's an accountability that comes, and there's a responsibility that comes from addressing the problems you're trying to run from. And I think that's where isolation could be challenging. I feel like this is a time where a lot of people could have taken this time to really reset and get before God. And I think, if I see all my friends that are believers or friends that hold me accountable, it's like I'd rather stay away from them. Nothing personal. Mm-hmm. But when I get around you, there's an accountability that comes. There's a responsibility that comes. And I know you're going to ask me how I'm doing. And if I'm not doing good, that's already something I don't want to talk about. So if I could just isolate myself and deal with it by myself, but see, the trigger of the enemy is, if he can isolate you, he can defeat you. Because no one gets around their encouraging friends and regrets it. You may not want to, but once you get around, you say, I'm so glad I came. Yeah, we need each other. Yeah, 100%. 100%. We were born for relationships. You can't do it alone. You can't. We weren't born to have no communication. And to God be the glory for our communication with God. But even God will lead you to get around your people. The Bible says, something I've been holding on to even as of recently, do not neglect the gathering of believers, looking for ways to encourage one another. You see, that's an important principle. And it's like, for me, I remind myself, I got to get around my people. When I find myself in a season where I just want to be to myself, I got to recognize the enemy, because it's even there. I find myself in sin sometimes. And it's like, I have to know that once I get around my people, they're going to encourage me. And I think even with isolation, it'll stop me from being around the people that God gave a word to them for me. And now, avoiding my people, I'm essentially missing what God may be trying to get through to me. Because one thing I noticed, when God has to speak to someone else for me, it's because he can't get through to me. You see what I'm saying? And I think in isolation, that's a place where a lot of people don't even seek God. You see what I'm saying?